Alright, so after reading the 5 articles that you provided for us, this is my evidence on pro-gifted education. So this one's from the first article, and it talks about gifted being left behind and how, since the No Child Left Behind Act in 2002, that funding has decreased over $6 million, and that 14 states reported absolutely no funding at all, which I think is a complete disaster and pretty ironic to the No Child Left Behind law that was instilled. So it talks about the author talks about how not treating these gifted students and giving them the class they need is a waste of a natural resource, which I found was very interesting because it's like natural resources go extinct after a while, and that if we aren't continuing to push these children and give them what they need, that they're going to go extinct as well. And then he also talked about in the end how the future of the 21st century rests on the shoulders of these neglected gifted students, which is kind of scary when they aren't being pushed because technology, business, literature, that all rides on their shoulders in the future. So this one was actually from the last article. It just kind of talked about how crucial gifted education is, kind of going off the last one, how one statistic that I found interesting was that 2/5 of advanced learners fall behind as they progress through school if they aren't being fed the stuff that they need. It says that students are ill-served by grade-level curriculum because some are very far behind and some have already mastered it. So both students deserve to be pushed and taught to their level. And one more thing. So another statistic that they talked about in this article was that schools are going to be, judged whatever how they do it based on their academic growth overall. So the schools that are focusing on those struggling more are not seeing academic growth because the gifted education students, the high achieving students, they aren't continuing to improve. They're not continuing to improve. So the academic overall growth is decreasing. Another statistic, this one is full of them, says that only 56% of high achievers retain their status by 5th grade. That's because starting out in the lower levels, they're getting bored. They're not wanting to continue to push themselves because they don't have teachers that are pushing that curriculum, the rigorous curriculum onto them. And he ended the article saying that all children deserve to learn something new every day, which I found was very interesting and very true, that every single child should be pushed like that. Alright, this article was, I think, the second one possibly, and it just talked about how students benefit from their peers of similar abilities. And then it goes on to show that if these peer effects will disappear if they compromise the highest ability groups with the lowest ability students. So I just think it's really important to combine these groups so they're able to feed off of each other, combine the high achieving groups all together and the low achieving groups together. I feel like leaders will step up in the lower achieving groups to push them to make them do better, and they won't feel, put down by the higher achieving students that are usually in their class. And the higher achieving students will be able to feed off each other, like I said before. That's all I have. This one I disagreed in a lot of ways, I guess just the way he put it. He went to say, this is the 4th article, that intellect and achievement are far from correlated, which I kind of disagreed with, because if a gifted student isn't pushed and said that they can do all these things, then they're not going to. So I feel like that's why gifted education is needed, to push the gifted students, because they do have high intellect and they will achieve great things if they're pushed correctly. Then he said the majority of our gifted programs do not add much, which is ironic because in the first article it stated how funding for gifted education students is like $5 million a year. And I actually Googled how many gifted kids there were, and there's like 2.9 million gifted kids. So that leaves like $2 per gifted kid per year on annual funding, which I find ridiculous. And it does explain how they aren't getting much nowadays because there's no spending on it. And then it says geniuses are better left alone to educate themselves, which if the classes aren't split up is going to be really hard to do when they're constantly trying to help out their classmates and go at a slower pace level. So gifted education still needs to happen because they need that time away to focus on things and stuff. And then he ends the article saying that all schools need to do is give them what they ask for and then walk away, which I feel like a lot of gifted students are wanting that gifted education. So that kind of just goes back that we do need gifted education. Alright, and the last article, I think this might have been the second one. So this article talks about how all children should have access to talented and gifted curriculum, which I think is true in the sense that all children should be pushed to school and all the classes that they're taking. One statistic that I didn't really agree with was that when exposed to high-level curriculum, high-achieving students perform no worse, and low-achieving students perform better. I feel like all students should perform better, not that the high-achieving ones should perform no worse. I feel like they should continue to be better and be pushed better. I also agree that students will rise to the occasion, so whatever they're being taught, they're going to continue to push for that and reach their limits. So I agree with all students need challenging education. And that is the end of the presentation, so thanks for watching.